You're staring at your ceiling at 2 a.m. again. The house is silent. Your heart is racing. You feel like you're failing at the most basic human task. You're failing at sleeping. But I don't think you're broken. I think you're actually the most human person in the house right now. For 300,000 years, your ancestors were doing exactly what you were doing. They were wide awake in the middle of the night, and they weren't stressed about it. They weren't reaching for a phone. They were actually at their most creative, their most peaceful, and they're most alive. We've been told that an 8-hour block of sleep is natural. It's not. That block is a modern invention. It was built for factory shifts and office hours. We literally built a cage of light to kill the night. We killed the most interesting part of being a human. If you hate your insomnia, it's probably because you don't realize it. Your 2 a.m. wake-up call isn't a glitch. It's a superpower we've accidentally turned into a disorder. I spent a week looking into Wonderwork Cave. It's a massive limestone cavern in South Africa. 1,000,000 years ago, our ancestors mastered fire there. That fire did more than just cook meat. It changed our DNA. It created a 30-foot circle of safety. If you stepped outside that circle, you died. The darkness belonged to the leopards and the hyenas. But inside that circle, something weird happened. Human time was born. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner spent years with the Bushmen and the Kalahari. She noticed a massive difference between day and night. During the day, humans are, well, they're boring. We talk about work, we talk about logistics, we complain about the weather or who didn't pull their weight. Daytime talk is economic. But when the sun goes down, the vocabulary changes. Around the fire, 80% of the conversation is storytelling. It's myths, it's jokes, it's what if. Firelight added 4 extra hours to our day. Those 4 hours are where human culture was actually built. We didn't become us while hunting. We became us while sitting in the dark. But then we have the sleep problem. I used to think waking up at night was a bug in my system. Then I found the work of Roger Eckerch. He's a historian who found something hidden in plain sight. He dug through 500 different historical references. He looked at prayer books from the 1400s. He looked at old court records and medical texts. And he found a phrase that has completely vanished from our language: first sleep and second sleep. Before the light bulb, people didn't sleep all at once. They went to bed shortly after sunset. They slept for about 4 hours. Then, around midnight, they woke up. They stayed awake for 2 hours. Then they went back for a second sleep until dawn. Nobody talks about this, but those 2 hours were called the watch, and they were the most sacred hours of the day. People didn't use that time to check emails. They visited neighbors. They prayed. They interpreted their dreams while the images were still fresh. A 16th century doctor even wrote that this was the best time for couples. He said they would do it better during the watch. This wasn't a choice. It was a rhythm, but I wanted to know if this was just a social habit, or was it biological? In 1992, a scientist named Thomas Weir found the answer. He took a group of volunteers and stripped away all artificial light. No lamps, no screens, no candles. For 14 hours every night, they were in total darkness. For the first few days, they just slept a lot. They were catching up on years of sleep debt. But by the 3rd week, something incredible happened. Every single person started waking up in the middle of the night. They all settled into the exact same biphasic pattern. 4 hours on, 2 hours off, 4 hours on. Nobody told them to do it. Their bodies just remembered. But here is the part that changed how I see my own room. During that middle-of-the-night gap, Weir measured their brains. They were flooded with a hormone called prolactin. If that sounds familiar, it's the peace hormone. It's what your body releases after meditation. It's what you feel after an orgasm. Our ancestors weren't awake the way we are now. They weren't scrolling or stressing. They were in a high-voltage meditative state. They were more calm than we are during the day. I think we've traded that peace for a light switch. When you flip that switch at 11 p.m., you kill the watch. Blue light hits your retina. It tells your brain that the sun is rising. Your melatonin vanishes. Your prolactin never stands a chance. You've effectively deleted 300,000 years of biological programming, and then you wonder why you feel anxious. But here's where it gets really weird. We didn't just lose those 2 hours of sleep, we lost a specific type of consciousness, a state of mind that we literally cannot access anymore. And because we don't have a word for it, we call it a disorder. We call it middle-of-the-night insomnia. We try to fix it with pills, but what if the pills are fixing the only part of you that's still natural? The word curfew comes from couvre-feu. It literally means cover the fire. In medieval towns, a bell would ring at night. It was a signal to put out the lights and go to sleep. We turned the night into a productivity tool. We decided that time is money, so the night was wasted time. But your body doesn't care about the economy. Your body remembers the cave. We conquered the dark, but we lost ourselves in the process. We lost the storytelling. We lost the dream thinking. We lost the quiet chemical peace of the watch. So here is my advice. Next time you wake up at 2 a.m., don't reach for your phone. The blue light is a lie. It will only trick your brain into thinking the hunt is starting. Instead, just sit there. Don't turn on the lamp. Feel the prolactin. Listen to the silence of the house. You're not failing at sleeping. You're finally experiencing the state of mind that built human civilization. You're finally awake in the way your ancestors were. I want to know, what's the weirdest, most creative thought you've had at 2 a.m.? Write it in the comments. Let's see if the watch is still alive in us. And if you found this peaceful, save it for the next time you're awake. You're gonna need it.